It's weird how they do it now. What's up, guys? And welcome to this episode of Tuesday Night Talks. This is not Hannah.
I'm not Hannah. We miss you, Hannah.
Yeah, we miss you, Hannah. Hannah's actually flying back, I believe, from Texas right now, obviously, with all the weather and everything that's going on. She has a little bit of delay. But the good news of that is I've been wanting to have Nelson on the show for a long time. We've been working together for... Has it been 4 years or 3 years or something?
About 4 years.
About 4 years. Been working together for a long time, and just one of my favorite people on the planet. Today I just found out that he writes his daughter an email every 6 months to catch her up on her life. Spoiler alert, she's only 3, so it's a time capsule thing that you're doing. Before we get started on the episode today, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are?
Like Mick said, my name's Nelson. I grew up in Bellflower, California, which is kind of by Long Beach. Graphic designer, proud father of 3. My youngest is 3, like Mikhail said. Expecting another one on the way, which we're really excited about it. I think that's my favorite thing of life.
Yeah.
You know, just being a father and nurturing and teaching and learning, and excited to be here answering some graphic design questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for being here too. For those of you who do not know, every Tuesday night we do a Facebook Live session answering any social media marketing questions that you might have. So feel free to comment below. In addition to that, today we will also be using the live call-in function as well. So hopefully we can have some of you guys in live on the show also. Today on the agenda, we have 3 apps to streamline your graphic design processes. We're also going to go through 10 Instagram statistics to keep in mind when you're marketing in 2018. And we're also going to have Nelson's Nugget, which is how to stay creative in a corporate environment. So there's that. And there's this, and that it's a super rad thing, my friend. Awesome. Dan, thank you so much for checking in. Jabril, thank you so much for checking in. Why don't we get started with the 3 apps to help the design process? What do you have on deck for us?
Well, I think, a house of design has been Adobe for the last 20 plus years. And I think if you're with the Creative Cloud service, a great app is obviously Spark. Spark, I think, is started to knock it out of the park. They have a feature for video. They have a feature for pictures. They have templates already there. So you don't really need to know too much to get on Spark. Now, let's say if you don't have the Creative Cloud service and you're not paying for Adobe, you can always use Canva, and I think Canva's done a great job of kind of emulating that.
With
that
Spark,
style.
real quick. So it's the Spark mobile app, right?
Yeah, Spark mobile app, and you can also use it with desktop. Both of those apps you can use.
What are some of the features on the Spark mobile app that you like the best?
I think what I like the best is they're one of the first people to be able to come out and do animation on video. So if you're looking for things like for Insta stories or something like that, add some advertisement to it. It's a good place because they already have the crop set up for you. It's simple animation, but it's fast and effective.
Right. And it's free or not free? Because I thought that you just had to like tag a friend or something and then you have the full app.
I think so. I've always had the Creative Cloud, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think that maybe to take off the logo or something like that, you do have to pay, or maybe you have to tag a couple people. It's worth it.
I would actually go ahead and say that's free. I'm not 100% certain, but either way, the like $9 that you might spend a month on this app is completely worth it because of the feature. It creates color palettes for you too, stuff like that. So it really helps out.
All the themes are there, ready to go, locked and loaded.
Yeah, so that's the Spark Post by app. Dan Ryder asked, "Do you love Spark? I find it hard to feel like I'm getting my own vibe. It seems like most of the things on Spark look like they were made on Spark. Would love some tips on customizing and personalizing it."
That's the one thing with Spark. I think that's the one downfall that you're going to get with that application. I think this is like more for like fast and easy. And if you're going to get into actually designing it, I think for myself, I go back to the old school way of going to Illustrator, going to Photoshop to make sure I'm splitting my spin on it. But if it's a time crunch kind of thing and you're on your phone and you're traveling, maybe in the airport or airplane, popping out a couple graphics in Spark, it really helps get me through the hunch.
One of the hacks that I have for Spark is uploading a clear PNG with my, like for me it's my signature, right? So I upload a clear PNG and then you can put that into the photo as well and kind of create something like that. Of course, I do have a white background on it, but that clear PNG helps. You can put your logo on it, so that's something that's really cool. Again, this isn't like the end-all, be-all type of stuff. It's just stuff to like help you put out content consistently.
Definitely, and I think that if you're using something like Spark, as long as you keep it consistent on your feed and your timeline like that, it becomes kind of your own. You keep the same kind of color palettes with it, same fonts, maybe in all your original pictures. I think it then becomes your own.
Absolutely. So what was the second app you were talking about?
Canva. I think, if you don't have access to Spark or anything like that, I think Canva, they've been doing it for a while now, last maybe 5 years. They really stepped up their game. They have the crop to for Insta Story, but it's more of a graphic design, just kind of base. Mm-hmm. But you also can make flyers off of Canva.
Yeah.
You also can make posters off of Canva.
There's
it's
like
pretty
you can
awesome.
do a pitch deck off of Canva, right?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's a powerful tool. And I think last on the list for me, me and Mikkel were just talking about this app today, which is InShot. So you take InShot and you're able to add a crop to that as well for stories. I think that's kind of where everything's kind of leading, Snapchat and stories. And then you're able to put music to it. You're able to put titles to it. Not a lot of animation. So what we do here is we end up doing video, taking the video, putting it into Spark, putting the titles over Spark, exporting it, taking it to InShot, and then add music and voiceovers, whatever you want to add.
That, I think using all of those things together is really effective. To you guys who may or may not follow me on Instagram, you should be at Mick. But sometimes in stories, we'll use that to like add just a little flavor to the Instagram stories and create a video around it. So again, Adobe Spark works really well. You also said Canva. A lot of people use Canva. That's one of your favorites as well. And InShot, right?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and outside of that, if you're really trying to design something a little bit more polished, mobile on the go, I would say check out the Creative Cloud apps for mobile. I think they're amazing. Sure. I just shot a picture of Mikhail and made a brush of his face and like started drawing with it. I mean, it's that fast within a couple seconds. So.
Yeah, within a couple seconds, it's pretty cool. So thank you for everybody checking in. For those of you who may not know, every Tuesday night we do a Facebook Live session to give you some tips on social media marketing, content development. If you have any questions about digital marketing or social media marketing at all, feel free to comment below. We'll also be trying to invite some of you guys on this as well, and make sure that we can get some live questions from you guys, so we'd really like that. Second on the agenda, and feel free to interrupt me, guys. I might just invite some of you guys out of the fun of it. But second on the agenda is 10 Instagram statistics to keep in mind when planning your 2018 strategy. This list actually comes from Social Media Today, so I did want to give a shout out there to help you guys give some advice. Obviously, we're sourcing some of this content, but this is from Social Media Today. Nathaniel Mendenhall, thank you so much for the information. But some of the hacks that we have today or stats that we have today is, number one, did you know that 70% of hashtags on Instagram are branded?
No, I didn't know that.
That's okay. So that actually sounds kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
So what they mean by this is that, hey Melissa, how are you doing? I might invite you on. What they mean by this is somebody like Nike might do, like hashtag just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
But 70%, that's a lot.
That's a lot of the hashtags, which is pretty crazy. So keeping this in mind when planning campaigns in 2018, having campaign-specific hashtags can at least help you track the effectiveness and how many people are actually using it. So that's an interesting statistic. Number two is 71% of businesses are using Instagram in 2017. That one's not very surprising to me.
No.
What do you think about Instagram as a business platform? They hear my shit all the time.
I mean, Instagram, I think, is where it's at right now as far as all eyes, especially if you're a visual brand. I think it's the way to go. And I think as long as you keep your feed really buttoned up and really organized, keep it well branded, I think you'll have a lot of success.
Perfect. The number three statistic is that 80% of users follow at least one business on Instagram. Now I think that one's very heavy because for whatever reason, sometimes we'll get like, oh, do you think Instagram's a viable platform? And as you were just saying, it is really popular. So the fact that most people will follow at least one business. I know that I follow multiple businesses, and not just the ones that we work with.
Yeah.
I think is really powerful. So it's important for every business and every brand to be out there. Dan Ryder says, we built hashtags all around the content of the new book. I can't read that. Rigorous whimsy. Oh, and critical creativity. We have a really bright light. If you notice, our complexion is really good today. We have this halo light going on just to make sure that we look 100 for you guys. Okay, number 4. This is a heavy one. Instagram expects to accrue $4 billion in mobile ad revenue in 2017.
That's crazy.
That's cool for them.
Yeah.
By the way. But what that's saying is that the marketing trends right now is that Instagram advertising is a viable platform, and businesses must be seeing some ROI from it. I know for our companies, we actually were running some reports today, and even in real estate, we're getting leads. We're actually getting leads from them organically.
Yeah.
So I think that that's really excellent. Raj, thank you so much for checking in. We really appreciate it. Right now, we're going over 10 Instagram stats to pay attention to in 2018 marketing. It's already the last quarter. Isn't that crazy?
Time flew by.
Posts with the location get 79% more engagement.
We noticed this
last
last few weeks.
Yeah. Where are you using a location tag the most?
Definitely in stories.
In stories?
Yeah, and you'll see your stories at least spike up maybe 10 to 20%.
Yeah. Number 6, 70% of Instagram posts don't get seen.
Yeah.
That's brutal. This has a lot to do with the Instagram algorithm, obviously. You're getting served content based on your interests, not on timelines. So this really actually ties perfectly into the first segment of the show today, where we were talking about how to create great content with mobile apps.
Yeah.
So now with tools like that, it's really important to continue creating unique, engaging content to make sure that audiences really, like it more, engage with it more. The more that your content is engaged with, the better you're actually going to come up. Now, Dan asks, what strategies do you have for getting click-throughs to happen on Instagram?
I think a lot of it has to start with the kind of lead out great, obviously great visual, and then sometimes you have to ask. Yeah. Sometimes you have to put it out there. Sometimes we get too humble or don't say, hey, I don't want to say sign up, but sometimes you just have to put it out there and see what happens. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So one of the things that you got to do, obviously, is put a link in your bio, right? For those of us who don't have 10,000 followers yet, we do not yet have the swipe up feature. Once you do hit 10,000 followers, then you will have that. But for the time being, as Nelson said, in your post, say click the link in the bio. Now, a little hack in addition to that is even on your own post.
Yeah.
In the caption, say click the link in the bio, then you can put like a point emoji and put your name right there so that somebody can easily click on your name and it goes to the whole page, and then they can click the link in the bio there.
Yep.
That actually helps quite a bit so that they don't have to scroll out, find your name, yada, yada, yada. It really it streamlines that path for the users. So tag yourself in your caption if you say click the link in the bio, point to it, and it'll bring up your whole profile.
Yeah, then if you have a small budget and you want to advertise on Instagram, then you're able to put a button, an actual button, and you can ask for that click-through.
Yeah, absolutely. Also in your stories, it's not a bad idea to say click the link in the bio, tag yourself. Some people think that I'm narcissistic by putting my own name on the thing, but it's actually so that they click out.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole strategy behind all of that. So that's definitely one of the suggestions that we have for you. Now, number 7. Instagram photos generate 36% more engagement than videos. We were just talking about this today. So even though Instagram has implemented a video strategy or video capabilities on their post, it seems like they're actually still photos are still getting more engagement. What would you have to say about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think Instagram has created a place where videos live, and I think that's primarily stories. And I think that Instagram was based off or built for photographers and an easy way to show great content, great photos, and I think that that's still the place to do that.
Absolutely. Cool. Number 8, 65% of top performing Instagram posts feature products. That's actually really interesting to me too. But I think that that's because, I think consumers are understanding that Instagram is a channel in and of itself in the same way that you know, TMZ, or not TMZ, I'm sorry, like E Network is a channel, right? So they expect these products to happen, and if it's a product that somebody can get behind, again, this has a lot to do with influencer marketing. If it's a product that somebody can get behind, they're likely to actually engage with that. So that's an interesting one.
That is.
So did you know this? Photos with faces get 38% more likes.
Yeah, it feels like it's more like
Personal.
genuine,
Yeah.
right?
I actually noticed this myself. Actually, the stat is opposite for me. A picture with my face gets 38% less likes. But a picture with Nelson actually gets 100% more, which is really crazy. But I think that this is really important. I think the flat lay culture is dying out.
Yeah.
Right? Flat lay culture is dying out. Sunset culture is dying out. And people on Instagram want to connect with other people. That's a lot of the reason why it's there. So adding a human aspect to your Instagram page, whether business or personal, obviously, is really important. Now, the last stat for people to pay attention to in 2018, user-generated content has 4.5% higher conversion rate. So what that means is the curated content from other users. So if you're a brand, for example, taking it and taking your audience and sharing the content that endorses your product is actually going to perform better.
Yeah, or even, you know, going out and paying for that engagement will work too as well.
So thank you again to Social Media Today for providing the 10 Instagram statistics that you should be paying attention to in 2018. The third segment of today is Nelson's Nugget, and I'm really excited for Nelson's Nugget, actually. How do people, I mean, you just jumped out of the corporate environment. You were in graphic design and doing a lot of other stuff for the company that you were working for. How did you stay creative in that time?
Yeah, so I was working for, I started my own clothing line before I jumped into becoming a corporate designer, which was for alcohol distribution company. And once I jumped in there, I learned real fast that you definitely got to take deep breaths. You know, there's a lot of times you're gonna have to take a lot of things on the chin, a lot of critiques, and just realize that everybody's style is their own, and everybody has their own opinion, and you just build the relationships. You know, you kind of just say yes, no problem, I'll get it done, and then you pick and choose where you want to put your own personal spin to it. The most important thing I think I learned from that corporate environment is to be able to sell your idea and sell yourself. Because a lot of the times they're stuck in these like 20-year trends, these 10-year trends, and they don't want to listen to anybody new, especially a graphic designer who doesn't know about the industry. And then you just go in there with with your plan and why it's going to be effective and how you're going to design it, and then you knock it out the park. So
I have a question for you. In terms of staying creative, do you believe that it's hard to schedule creativity?
No, I think you have to actually schedule it. Mm-hmm. To me, it's not every time you're going to sit down you're going to make something amazing. It's more important about taking a passion project, like a small one. It could be whatever you want to do. It could be drawing sunsets every day for a couple of hours. As long as or maybe 30 minutes, as long as you got that schedule and you keep doing it, eventually you're going to come out and hit inspiration while doing it. And I mean, I feed off a lot of things, including music and movies, just like anyone else. So
while you're actually going through, I'm going to ask you another question, but while we're going through that, I want to invite some of our live viewers here. So let me see if I can actually do this and invite somebody on. Invite Melissa, if you're. We would love if you came on and maybe asked a question or two. If not, it's completely cool. But what about were you like scheduling in your calendar like, hey, this, at this time, I'm going to be working on this client, and then at this time, I'm going to be working on this client?
Yeah, I definitely had to do that, especially when you're juggling multiple clients. I put down the schedule of when I'm going to design for those clients to make sure I set apart that time and put quality time into that project.
I love that. Let's see if we can can't invite this guest, can't invite this guest. Let's see if we can't invite this guest. We have Melissa.
Hi, Mick. This is my daughter, Naja.
Hey, Naja, how you doing?
Good.
So for those of you who follow the podcast, you should. It's live on iTunes, A Day in the Life by Mick. We spoke with Melissa. We learned a lot about Naja and your amazing story in the development of TutorBit. So I'm really pumped about that. And I'm also very pumped to meet you finally, well, via video. Melissa, are there any questions that we could answer for you in regards to social media marketing or digital marketing?
I think for me, I hear what you guys are saying, like user generated content is obviously better. And, but I've asked on social media, like, what do you guys want to learn? I've tried different things, and I even tried like win a free iPad and come up with like a 1-minute fun video. And, we did it on Slinkies, and Naja actually helped me out. We went out to the volleyball court and like made this like do-it-yourself sling. It was a mess, but anyway, it was fun. But we got no response. And I guess that's what I'm really struggling with, is how do you actually get them to engage? They would like, and then I was doing this project just last week with my goddaughter. She's actually doing a project on like women in NASA, which is really interesting and fits right in line with TutorBit. And so we like reached out and we like tagged some of the NASA astronauts on Twitter. And she's really trying to show like there's this, Naja's making food. Marketing, and we looked at like different toys for girls marketing towards NASA, and it was just like cute little Barbies and like a little pink short, but the boys had like cool toys. And so we're trying to show that there's a real problem here, like we're marketing to girls in the wrong way. And so I like tagged some of the astronauts and tagged some ladies, and nobody responded. They liked the picture, but they wouldn't respond. So how do you actually get people to engage and comment? And
I think a lot of it in the beginning, like they say, it all goes down in the DMs, right? A lot of it is making sure that you're kind of connecting with those people before you actually deploy the content and the campaign. So trying to build a kind of network and seeing how you can help one another, and it's just not one side. Yeah, to win an iPad is great, but maybe you can provide something else for that person that goes a little bit longer than the technology, I would say.
Yeah, and additionally too, I think what it sounds like with the outreach that you were doing for NASA has a lot to do with, it's essentially a type of influencer marketing and getting them to post something potentially about TutorBit. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, not even about TutorBit, but just kind of weighing in on these. I had like, the girls' toys, which was like, honestly, it went from Barbie and like pink little shorts to American Girl doll that I thought was a boy. So I wanted their just input on that, how they feel about it.
Yeah, a lot of those people with big followings are they're getting flooded with a lot of mentions and tags from a lot of other people. So one thing that we've done to kind of break the mold is directly emailing them if they have that available on their profile. Direct messaging, like Nelson said. But here's the thing, to be really honest with you, to get those like influencers, whether it's 5,000 people or 50,000 people, we've sometimes, even when we're offering money to pay them to do this, it's taken us 20, 30, 40 people until we actually get a response, right? So I think a lot of it is hacking away more and more. And then again, getting at them a little bit more personally than outside of the caption.
And sometimes it takes 4 or 5 times to message that person or tag that person or comment on that person until they actually like break through that noise and realize that you're not a robot somewhere.
Okay.
As far as the iPad giveaway, let's talk about that for a second too. The iPad giveaway, you posted on your profile, right? Like, create this and you have a chance, or tag this and you have a chance to win an iPad. Is it something along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
On
how many
Facebook,
followers do you have on TutorBit right now?
On Instagram, just under 1,000.
Okay, so that's not terrible. Again, so you have to imagine 1,000 people, you're not reaching that entire 1,000 people, right? Yeah. So you're not reaching those people. Look at the people that might be already clients of yours or ambassadors of yours. But again, one strategy that I would implement with that is using, it's called like a roundabout technique. And with that roundabout technique, you can essentially take an influencer that your fans, your audience might already be looking to. So let's just say, hypothetically, it's The Rock, okay? But you have to get The Rock to start something like this. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are micro-influencers potentially in the area, schools. I would partner up with a school or a high school or something like that where they have a lot of followers, and get them to post it on there. This contest is happening, but to enter, you have to tag TutorBit and go that way instead of doing it directly from your page. Because to be frank, your reach isn't that far yet. So finding a micro influencer of some sort will definitely help that out quite a bit. I don't know if you remember, but last year, remember that campaign where it's like, repost this photo and you'll get a free bathing suit?
Oh, yeah.
But their strategy behind that, and it's similar to what you're doing, was they had 10 to 20 different influencers that had big followings around their target demographic to post that same photo to gain that virality. Of course, starting out, you might not have that same, that same reach. But again, whether it's somebody in the local area, advocates of what you're doing, reaching the ed tech crew, something like that, to start posting it on theirs where they have an audience that fits yours to kind of start that fire for you will definitely help out quite a bit.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
And on a side note, we'll take this offline. We're going vegan. That's why she's making stuff, because we watched the Netflix documentary, What the Health. So we can talk about that later. Yeah,
that was brutal. We did and shout out to Bree and Nutrivision, or not Nutrivision, I'm sorry, Nutravenience. They have a great vegan cleanse that you can actually purchase for 3 days. The food was amazing. Good luck with that though. Let me know how it goes. I was vegan for 3.5 days. Then I had to slam, once the thing was done and I couldn't create the food for myself, I slammed a steak, I'll be honest with you guys.
Well, it's totally opposite of what you just did, which was not paleo. What did you do?
I did what was that other one that I did?
The ketone diet?
The ketone one, where it was all steak and everything. That one was crazy.
Yeah.
I recommend that. I don't recommend that at all. Anyway, Melissa, thank you so much for calling in. It's good to chat. Hopefully that helped out. If not, please, let's talk about that and figure that out for you, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right, have a good one. All right, guys. Melissa, thank you so much for the call in. For those of you just checking in, we're actually going to log off now. So thank you for joining us on this episode of Tuesday Night Talks. We had Nelson here today. For those of you who check in regularly, thank you very much. Every Tuesday night, we do a live Facebook broadcast to answer any of your social media and digital marketing questions. Be sure to check in next week where we'll have more tips and advice and news for social media marketing. That was the worst wrap-up I've ever done. Help me.
Yeah, we'll see you same time, same place, Tuesday.
Yeah, have a good one, guys.